Hi everyone, it's Sphinx here, and today I'm bringing you a video on a game I've never before shown on my channel. This is Swords of Legends Online. It's a hugely popular MMORPG in Asia. It was recently brought to Europe and North America as of the 9th of July 2021. And what's so great about this MMORPG, there's absolutely no pay to win. The only things you can buy in this game are cosmetics. I've had the opportunity to play this in closed beta and now for quite a significant amount of time today in its full release. What I want to do is provide a beginner's overview on things to do, things not to do, which I've learned throughout my time playing so that you can avoid doing some of the same things. Now, this is my character here on screen. This is a Spellsword character, I believe the class is called. Let's double check. Yes, Spellsword. Now, there are 6 classes in this game. Honestly, I'm not here to tell you which class to play. Choose whatever one sounds the most appealing to you. There's the opportunity to build more than one class if you're willing to put the time in. I've decided to go for Spellsword, but what I do want to touch on is the fact that there are 6 classes. We have Spearmaster, Berserker, Spellsword, Bard, Summoner and Reaper. And each one of these has, in the left hand side of the screen here, which you can't actually see at this moment, what it says is, let's go, if we can grab another one here, you can just kind of make out behind the camera, it says Elemental Magic and it says Ranged, and then it says Group Healing, Support. And for each of these characters, this is Spearmaster, this is a melee or tank class, so each class has 2 specializations. I'm not going to create a new character, but I can just show you using my Spellsword character in game. And what I want to show you is these 2 classes. Now, this is my character in game. Like I said, she's a ranged attack specialist, and these are some of her attacks. But what you can do in this game, which is really interesting, is you can switch between this ranged attack here with the melee attack, which is just underneath. I'm going to go ahead and click the activate button, which you'll see more clearly in a second. This is my skills, and what you're going to see just now is it switches from the Sword Artist to Bladestorm. Now, depending on which class you decide to go for, where it says Sword Artist here and Bladestorm, that's going to be called something different. That's not important. The important thing is this switch button here. Now, you can find this screen by going on to your bottom left here, and you can find this skills tab here, or shortcut K, and it's going to bring up this. Now, this little button in the middle is how you switch between them. And what I recommend to you as a new player, give each of these an hour, a couple of hours each, figure out which one you want to play with, but do not try and progress using both, because what's going to happen is, you can see just here, this is on my range attacks. My attacks here are level 3, level 2, and on the other one, not going to bother switching again, but you can see here these are all level 1. So basically what's going to happen if you're switching stance too often, is particularly at the start of the game when you're under leveled already and sort of facing quite difficult opponents, these aren't going to get leveled up as quickly, and you're basically going to be you will be leveling the same character, but you're going to be leveling 2 different chains, and rather than becoming really good at one, you're going to just be mediocre at both, and that's going to be really difficult to progress, especially as you start to move not to end game, but when you're getting sort of close to that stage. So what I would recommend is figure out which one you want to play. You probably already have an idea in your head of what you want to go for. I'm typically always a ranged character in the games that I play, so therefore I've decided to go for ranged. That was quite an easy decision for me. So play around with it, choose one and stick with it. It doesn't have to be like that all the way through. There's at any stage of the game you can switch over to the other one, but you do want to focus on one in particular and make sure that that's leveled enough so that you're not putting yourself in difficult positions in the future. The second thing is with the missions. Now, when you start the game, there's going to be a bunch of missions spread all over the place. What I recommend is you pick up every single one of them, and whether or not you decide to do it at that moment or come back to it later, it's going to be really useful to have that in your mission log, which you can find just at the bottom here under mission, shortcut L. And as you can see, I've got a bunch here, and all I've decided to do, if I'm not interested in them, is use these checkboxes at the side where you can just track and untrack your missions. Now, the reason that I say this is because I must have missed a few at the very start of my game, and although I could and still can go back and activate those missions and do them. I don't know where they are, and I thought it's going to be quite time consuming because I have already went through quite a few areas. And what this meant for me was that when I got to around beginner level 14, I became quite stagnant and I didn't have any quests available, but I couldn't do the quests that I was needing to do because I wasn't high enough level. And this meant that I had to come down into this area here, Dungeon Codex and Yemo City. I had to complete this dungeon, I think it was around 3 times. It did give me rewards each time, which was good, and some of the rewards it gave me for the second and third time were actually improvements on the gear I already had. So that was fine. However, these dungeons are quite in depth. They do take around probably about 15 minutes if you're doing it solo or with one other. And you know, when you've got to do that 3 times just to level up because you missed something, it takes a little bit of the fun away in your first couple of hours of the game. So I would recommend make sure you're doing all your missions and make sure you're collecting the rewards as well. So I'm going to show you some of the common places when you're getting started that you need to collect your rewards from. The first one is this upper right hand corner. As you can see, it says overview of the tutorial, game modes and instance progress. You can find out about the game content here. So you open this up and you're going to have these tutorials. Make sure you're doing these, absolutely worth it. Tells you a little bit more about the game, but also as you can see it has these good rewards here too. So you've got the PvE, PvP and leisure and fun. As you can see, I haven't done them all yet, but I am starting to work my way through these. And then we have cultivation here, which is basically going to be your daily and weekly challenges, as you have with most MMORPGs. As you can see, I've done the daily event, haven't done the weekly event yet. But just make sure you're coming in and clicking this little section here, and that's where you're going to be claiming your reward. So this is just for sort of your tutorial and game mode section here. Eventually this is going to go away. So what you do want to be focused on is, if we come into the bottom right here, you have the Swordmaster Adventure. This is more or less your main storyline, so you're going to be wanting to come in here and make sure you're collecting all of these rewards here for each one of these little sections here. So make sure you're collecting all these rewards, and if you can, make sure you're doing these challenges. Next up, like I said, we have the missions. Now the missions are not so much the same as collecting rewards, because when you hand your missions in, that's when you're going to be collecting your rewards from them. You don't need to come in at any point later and collect them again, but it's just worth keeping in mind that you might have some of these which aren't being tracked that you can do quite quickly, and I would definitely recommend doing them, because at the end of the day, everyone knows on an MMORPG the fastest way to level up when you first start is just to batter through all of the missions. And then the last thing, one of the last things we have is this biography. Now, I'm not sure if there's more going to become available to you as you progress through the game, but what I do know is I have 70 of them in that I can see. However, only some of them are unlocked. Oh, actually, I just realised here, so it says 62 then 70, so presumably there are some that I don't have access to yet. And these are very, very quick quests. Basically, you just turn up, you do a very quick task for the quest giver, and then you collect your reward. So these are not going to give you a substantial amount of XP, but if you're wanting to try and do something quickly just to give you that little bit extra, just to get to the next level, I'd recommend doing 1 or 2 of these. Really quick to do, genuinely take less than 5 minutes each once you're actually there and started it. And the last place you want to be coming in to make sure you're collecting your rewards is down here on the 5th tab. You have the Book of Aeons. Now, Book of Aeons, as it says here, is a small volume which documents your friendships and experiences with the game's characters. Now, as with most MMORPGs, again, there's such a thing as factions in this game. All the different factions, there's it's not so much a reputation system, but if you do things for the factions, you'll level up for the factions. What that means is, with a lot of these characters, they're aligned to a particular faction. So when you're doing your side missions and your quests in general, you will meet a lot of these characters. And what that means is, when you complete the side quests, you enhance your relationship with these game characters. So you can come in here, click on a particular one. As you can see, it's my current Destiny level is 3, and right up here where it has the 4 inside this grey heart, this is where you'll be collecting rewards for leveling up your first couple of times on your Destiny level. I can't say for certain if these characters will develop the same relationships with other classes. What I can tell you is that regardless of that, you will have someone in this place where you can start collecting these gifts here, and you're just going to work through and gift again. And what you can do once you get to level 3 is you can send a gift here. Now I don't have too many of them. I have an epic treasure map here which I might give to another character. As you can see, there's some favourite items here. So what you do, I think it's once a day, you can send a gift. This will increase your Destiny level progression, and then obviously once you get to the end and level up, you're going to have an extra reward to get. The thing to note is you can only send a gift through this menu after hitting Destiny level 3 with this character. I believe before that you have to physically go to them in game and then give them the gift, or what would probably be easier is just complete the quest that you probably need to complete to get yourself to level 3 anyway. But make sure you're doing that. I wouldn't say every day, but if you do have the spare thing lying about and it does happen to be one of these sort of favourite items, then you know, just have a look if you have some spare stuff, and if you can send them the gift, definitely recommend doing it, but don't put yourself out of the way just to level these at the current moment, because some of these items which may be rare to you right now are just going to become like nothing further down the line. So don't worry too much about that, but make sure you're coming in at the start and collecting any of these rewards that you have available. Now the last thing I want to touch on is the pets here. There is a specific quest which tries to sort of walk you through pets. However, I didn't think it was particularly clear, and it took a little bit of getting my head around it so that I could sort of understand what was going on. So I just thought I would break it down a little section in this video and talk about what pets are in this game. First and foremost, you have, when you come into the bottom here, it's either shortcut P, or you can see just the pet tab here, and then you're going to be faced with this screen. You've got feed, and normally down in this bottom section you will have sort of all your disposable items, or all the items you're not using which are available to be fed to your pet, and you can choose which ones you want to do. The ones I would recommend doing, especially early in the game, is all your old gear. Every time you get a recommended gear, equipment, put on that new piece, and then you could feed your old piece, especially your first couple of levels, because you're getting new gear all the time, and the ones that you had originally they're so basic that you don't need to keep a hold of them, and that's going to give you quite a lot of soul chi here. You see I have 1700, and if we go into skills here, that's where you use up your chi so that you can level up these passive skills here. As you can see, these ones are all locked, but this one on the end here, I've already leveled it to level 5. Doesn't take an awful lot to get them leveled, maybe around 200 chi altogether, and as you can see I still have 1700, so not an awful lot at all. Crafting is not going to be available to you at the start, and this transformation is basically just what you want your pet to look like. You can have a little look through some of these. Most of them you have to buy. This first page, a lot of them I already had unlocked at the start, so choose whatever one you like, apply it, and then you'll kind of see it hovering around your character now and again. You can kind of see mine's just here, although it's not very clear right now. So that's all for this video. It's a really quick one, I know. Hopefully that helped. If it did, please leave the video a thumbs up, because it helps me out a bunch and it lets other people who like similar content to yourself find the video, and consider subscribing to the channel for more Swords of Legends online gameplay and videos. Thank you so much for that. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will catch you next time.